Hi, welcome to a new episode of Sportsy, Let's Talk Sports. Today, we are taking a shot at the gold medal discussing Olympism. We have with us Honorary Lieutenant Colonel Abhinav Bindra. Abhinav Bindra is an Indian Olympic gold medalist, retired sports shooter, and a businessman. He is first and one of the only two Indians to win an individual Olympic gold medal. He is the first Indian to have held concurrently the world and the Olympic title for the men's 100-meter air rifle event, having earned those honors at 2008 Summer Olympics and 2006 ISSF World Shooting Championship. Abhinav has also won 7 medals at the Commonwealth Games, 3 medals at the Asian Games. With more than 150 medals in his 22-year-long career, he is the recipient of Padma Bhushan from Government of India and one of the top influencers in the sports policy in the country. Abhinav has also served as a goodwill ambassador at the Rio 2016 Olympic, having been appointed to the post by the Indian Olympic Association. On September 5, 2016, he announced his retirement. Abhinav Bindra's primary outreach to Indian sport is through the Abhinav Bindra Foundation, a non-profit organization that works to integrate sports science and technology into Indian sports and encourage high-performance physical training. In 2018, Abhinav was bestowed with the prestigious Blue Cross, the ISSF highest honor. So please welcome the pride of India, Arjuna Awardee, Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Awardee, Padma Bhushan, the man who gave India golden direction and the man who is taking it to a much needed golden shot at Olympism, Abhinav Bindra. Hi Abhinav, it is great to have you on our platform, Sportsy, where we're talking about sports as an aspirational, inspirational, motivational platform for generations to come and trying to make our bet towards making India a sporting nation. So great to have you here.
Thank you very much for your very kind information. And of course, congratulations on all the work that you've done in this effort to promote sport and really make sport a part of our culture. I think that is what the country needs. And, every effort towards that is very welcome and well done to you as well.
Thank you. These kind of encouraging words are really important. It goes a long way for us. So for our viewers, obviously the person on the screen does not need any introduction. The man who gave India golden direction, the man who is taking much needed golden shot at Olympism, which we are going to talk about. We have with us Abhinav Bindra with more than 150 medals in 22-year-long career, the recipients of Padma Bhushan, Arjuna, Khel Ratna, every accolade that Government of India has given. And so it is our honor to have you here, Abhinav. But as I start, the platform is Let's Aim Sports, about how sports is aspirational, inspirational, motivational. What are these 3 words means to you?
Well, I think these 3 words mean everything to me. I think, sport has a unique way of uniting communities and uniting societies, unlike any other activity in the world. And with it, it brings in the inspiration, it brings in the motivation, and brings in the aspiration. So I think just the unifying aspect of sport is absolutely unique. And really there lies the real power of sport. Sport brings a smile on everybody's faces. It brings people, it brings communities together. And that is very wonderful to see. And, sport is also very unique because it is blind to, who you are, where you come from, what background you come from, what your family is about, what your religion is about, what your caste is about, or what your bank balance is about. So that is the unique part of sport. Sport is all about fairness. And that is something very interesting. As human beings, for example, when is the first time you're exposed to the concept of rules? It is when we play sport or we play a game. So for me, it is sport has this extremely important aspect in nation building and in society as well, to inspire the youth, to make the youth aspirational, and to, of course, motivate the youth in the right direction. Even whether they take up elite sport or not, that is immaterial. But sport has the power to bring all these aspects together, which will hold our society and young kids in good stead as they progress in life in whatever vertical or whatever field that they do. Go ahead.
Excellent. I think you summed it up so well, and that exactly what sports is, and that's what brings us to the industry. Yes, and to make a change that we really want to see. But you started at very young age, like 15. At the age of 15, you actually represented India for the first time at the senior level. Uh, that time, what was that aspiration? Did you always had a shot at the bigger vision? Because you have spoken a lot about mental toughness and all those things, but how did that journey develop?
Well, as a kid, I was not very fond of sport. I was, in fact, an overweight kid whose only talent was to miss physical education classes at school. But it was my father who always motivated me to play some sport. I was in a boarding school early on, not very well settled there, but I used to receive a letter almost every day from my father, and there was always one thing which was common in that letter, which was to play sport. I did give my hand at all sports, but it didn't work out. And then one fine day, I was introduced to my first shooting lesson. And I went to it, and I absolutely loved it, because to be successful in it, or to be somewhat decent at it, I just had to stand still, and there was no running around required. But of course, over time, I realized that was a weakness, and to really excel in it, and then to be the best that I could be, I also had to become physically very well tuned. So it was a journey of turning your limitations or your weak points into your strengths. But that is where it all started, and one thing led to the other. Very early on, I just had this feeling, and I fell in love with this sport, because I fell in love with the Lego of shooting. Shooting is a sport which has many moving different parts, and the process of shooting is something which I was very taken in by. So very early on, I really fell in love with the sport. I fell in love with the process of the sport, which inspired me to dream big. And I think quite early on, as a kid, I had set a unimaginable goal for myself, that I want to go to the Olympic Games, and then to be Olympic champion one day. It was a lofty, very, very lofty goal to have as a young kid. But that again, the inspiration came from my parents, who always taught me to aim high, who always taught me to aim for the skies and for the stars, but back it up with a lot of hard work, with a lot of effort. And that is how it all started. And then, of course, one thing led to the other. The journey obviously began for my first competition was a district competition, and then it led to the state level, then to the qualifying for the nationals, and and that's how things progressed. But that was really where the start was.
Yes, and as we said that today's chat is going to be around a very amazing topic called Olympism. But just moving to the word Olympism that you said you actually introduced and were taking it to next level. One point that I wanted to talk about is the importance of the perseverance and patience for athlete journey that you spoke about. I think in a lot of your interviews you have spoken about it, the mental toughness and all. How does the athlete actually can work on those things, or what are those triggers for athlete in a country like India, where we are still not a sporting nation? So the importance of mental toughness for an athlete journey.
Yeah, so I think you bring in a lot of points. I think patience and perseverance is, absolutely needed in any sporting journey. Sporting journey is always going to be very challenging. It's going to be like a roller coaster. Sporting journey will have much more failure than success. And in order to survive this sporting journey, or to keep at it, you have to be patient. And I think what is most important, you have to learn how to fail well. Failing well really is an art of letting go of the unwanted baggage that failure brings, but learn from that event and take it as an experience, and always keep learning and try to be better as an individual than what you were yesterday. And that journey continues in whatever you do, and really till the end of your life. I mean, there's an aspect of mental toughness, what you talked about. There's a performance aspect of it, but I think what is equally important is the mental well-being aspect of it. And I think sporting journeys are tough journeys, as you all know, and what an athlete faces in their journey are a lot of pain points. And, there's a constant of dealing with failure, there's also dealing with success. There's the physiological load of just training, which can lead to mental fatigue or mental issues. There's constant travel. There is dealing with sleep issues, because if you're traveling, that can have an impact on your mental cognitive abilities. Injuries, there of course there's a physical element of dealing with the injuries, but there's also a big mental aspect of dealing with injuries, because it can lead to careers being shortened or careers being threatened because of it. There's always an impending end of a career. An athlete's life is unique because it's quite short, and then when it ends, then what do you do? And of course, there is the whole aspect of career transition. So it's very important, I think, in an athlete's life to build complete, or to ensure that you continue to build balance in your life. That of course you develop as an athlete in whatever sport that you have chosen, but you have to continuously and simultaneously also develop as a human being, and build many different pillars in your life. Of course, you have to build social pillars, you have to build pillars of relationships, but also have the aspect of having a dual career. Very important. Education plays a very important role. And I think while it is tough to keep that balance between education and sport, it's very important to go through it, because when your career ends, you have to start all over again, and you need something as a backup plan. Yeah. I think having this balance and working on yourself holistically and building different pillars in your life will eventually end up helping you perform better also as an athlete, because when you're in a pressure situation or in an Olympic final or in a big competition, your self-worth or your self identity, your self-worth, more importantly, will not be completely driven by where your name appears on the ranking list of that sporting competition. So this is the basis of mental toughness. It's one thing to talk about going to a trainer or psychologist. That's all good and that's necessary. But the base, the fundamentals of that toughness comes from this balance, comes from building these different pillars and developing holistically as a human being, and not just primarily as an athlete.
Wow. And coming from you, I think it means a lot. And there are kids who are listening to this, the athletes who are listening to this, I'm sure there are a lot of cues to be taken from this. So coming from moving from this to the next topic, which we really want to talk to you about, is Olympism. We all heard about spirit of Olympics, about competing and completing, and not only about winning the medal, but yes, we get to sit in front of somebody who gave the India the first ever individual gold. But that is about Olympics. But what does actually Olympism means, and how do you promote that Olympism in the current year?
So I think the Olympic Games is much more than just a mere sporting event. The values that Olympism and then the Olympic movement brings of excellence, of respect, of friendship, I think are absolutely critical in society and in today's society. And even in these challenging times that we live in, the relevance of these values is absolutely critical. Sport is very, very unique because, it teaches you, yes, a little bit about winning, but more importantly, sport teaches you how to lose. Sport teaches you honesty. Sport teaches you integrity. Sport teaches you the need to follow rules. Sport teaches you to build relationships. Sports teaches you to build those friendships. Sports teaches you a thing or two about conflict, inner conflict, and sport teaches you how to deal with conflict which may come from outside, external conflict. Sport teaches you a lot about respect, about respecting rules, about respecting competitors, about respecting coaches. But also, most importantly, sport also teaches you how to gain your own self-respect. And I think these are all elements that you classify as Olympism. And where these values are very, very important in today's youth and in today's society, primarily because we are such a young country, and we are all struggling to gain these values. We're all struggling to, kids are struggling to imbibe these values. And there's no better way than sport to imbibe these values in young kids. So I think we just need to ensure that we give more opportunities to young kids and young children to play sport, to experience sport, to imbibe these values, the values of Olympism. Not necessarily with the goal of becoming Olympic champions or even Olympians, but playing sport for the sheer joy of playing sport. You don't need to go to be an Olympian to imbibe the values of Olympism. It's relevant to each one of us in whatever field we do. I'll just end by saying that one thing, we're all after, as a country, we're after economic success, and we want to become a $5 trillion economy and this, that, and the other. But what is very, very interesting to note that all global economic superpowers also happen to be very strong and sporting superpowers. And I believe that they've become economic superpowers because of sport. And sport has played a huge role in those societies, because it has helped them as societies imbibe these values, which has really helped them gain success in different fronts and in different verticals of whatever they've pursued in life. So that's the basic concept of Olympism, and of course we are trying to promote it. My foundation is trying to promote it. We're trying to promote the Olympic value education program in India. We're also trying to do a lot of web-based stuff to promote these values, but more importantly, really start these important conversations around Olympism. You, for example, are asking me this question today on Olympism, and I'm glad that you're asking me that, and that's what I want to see change. I want that change to be triggered, where people look at the Olympic Games much more than just a sporting event.
Right, and I think a couple of cues that I can take is, one is just makes everybody play sport, let them fall in love with sport. I think Olympism can be the values that you spoke about. I think that can be used in any career that you make. It doesn't need to be sport. You can actually make those values useful in any corporate career or your professional career or sporting career. Anywhere you can actually make use of that. I think this is wonderful, and this is actually going towards building the holistic life system for any individual that actually can take it forward. So amazing work done by you. I think taking this word forward. We had heard of this word, but taking this word forward, Olympism, is amazing. So as a charter of your foundation, ABFT, what exactly that you do to help amateur to professional athlete, and what is the charter that how exactly that works?
So we have three. The Abhinav Bindra Foundation works in three. We have three pillars of the work that we do. The first pillar of what we do is intervention, where we work with many young athletes between the age of 12 and 17 or a little older, where we've given them a scholarship called the STEAM scholarship. STEAM standing for Science, Technology, Engineering, Analytics, and Medicine. We also run a series of centers, high performance centers in India called the ABTP centers, where all these athletes get that access and are given access to all these elements. And all these elements are incorporated into grassroots training. Under intervention, we also have a program called Sports for Her. It is a program dedicated to the female athlete, because the female athlete has a set of specific requirements and needs to be empowered throughout their journey in those areas. And that's how we're trying to support specifically the female athlete. The second pillar of our work is education. We believe that it is not just about supporting athletes, but it is about empowering the ecosystem that surrounds the athlete. With that in mind, we set up a Sports Medicine and Research Institute, where we've started out with bachelor's and master's degrees in sports science and physiotherapy to start with, and a lot more courses are going to happen there. A second pillar of education is with our partners, the ELMS Foundation, where we set up a program for governance and leadership in sport. That too needs empowerment, and our leadership and administration in sport also needs access to global best practice. And that's where, with the University of Loughborough, which is regarded the world's best sports university, we've set up an online course for sports administrators and leaders. We're already in our third year and our third season of our courses. Then we also work under education on athlete mental health. This is a subject which I have personally worked very hard in with my roles in the International Olympic Committee. And we've done a lot of work in India in advocacy for mental health, or for athlete mental health, but also working with several organizations to set up psychologically safe environments for athletes to train and participate in sport in. The third and last pillar is using the power of sport for social good. Our first project was dedicated to the refugee cause, where alongside three-time Olympic champion from Italy, Niccolò Campriani, the foundation partnered to train 3 refugees and help them become athletes, and hoping that they would actually compete at an Olympic Games. Very happy to tell you that 2 of them competed at the Olympic Games in Tokyo, one under the Olympic refugee team, and the other represented Afghanistan because he's still an asylum seeker, etc. But it was a wonderful project and has had a huge impact, and just again showcases how the power of sport has the way to change people's life in a positive way. We're also now working under this pillar on Olympism and to take the value education program associated with Olympism and make it more scalable and take it to different parts of the country. So that is basically a little bit of an overview about what we do and what we're involved in.
Excellent. So, Abhinav, I know the time is of essence, so I'll just come to my last question here. What is your vision of India being a sporting nation?
I'd like every child to have the access to play, and I'd like sport to really be integrated into as culture. I think we just need to make sure more and more young people play sport for the sheer joy of playing sport. When we see that families choose to play sport over the weekend rather than going to the mall or to the movie, that's where the real change would be triggered. And that in turn would help us become a greater society, because sport will have that great role to play. But it will in turn also make us a better sporting nation in terms of elite sport, because when we have more people playing sport just for the sheer joy of playing sport, more and more people will also dedicate their lifetimes to elite sport. So that's what my vision is, and that's what I hope to see in my lifetime.
Excellent. I think that is what that will give a sheer joy. And I'm sorry, while I said that was my last question, just one question, because if I get to host you, I think I have to ask this question, because people will not like if that question is not asked to you. It is about your message to all the youngsters and aspiring athletes about their journey and about their conduct. And probably we can close on this.
I think I just like to say that the shortest way to success is hard work, and I just tell them to give it their best shot. Invest in the relationships that their journeys will bring them, and persevere and enjoy the journey. I think that is the most important thing. The joy is really in the effort, and they should always keep that in mind.
Excellent. On that note, we just really want to thank you for all the time you gave us and the discussion that we had. It's wonderful to host you. It's one of my proudest day, honestly speaking, since I started this journey. And wish you inspire more and more generations to come. And I'm looking forward to contribute in any ways in the whole journey. Thank you and stay safe.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, and thank you for sharing. But please do subscribe to our channel Sportsy Says and help us spread the word about Sportsy. We go with the same handle Sportsy Says across all the social media platforms and podcasts.